1. It started my second year of working at a popular paper fastener store. Let's call them paper clips. It was my first official full summer there. Started in July of 2019, pre-COVID, and I was getting a name for myself. My regulars stopped by, buying the usual school apparel, and all was good. When one of my customers said, "Oh, I owe you a pair of earrings," I was surprised, but I brushed this off as an unusual display of gratitude, then went on with my day. To my surprise, the gentleman, Mr. Earring, came back with a beautiful set of yellow and gold handmade earrings. I was shocked. Normally I would get a thank you or a nice smile or a rare piece of candy. But a pair of lovingly handmade earrings was a shock. I thanked him, and his wife, Mrs. Earring, put them on and had a lovely day. They became my lucky earrings. I kept them close, even putting them into a small pouch that I used to house my favorite gemstones. Mr. and Mrs. Earring continue to be regulars of mine. Mr. Earring gave his creations to the other ladies who worked at Paperclips, unwittingly creeping out my co-worker, who gave me her pair, which I still have. I then learned Mr. Earring was battling cancer. I wished him the best. He was strong throughout the fight. The last time I saw Mr. and Mrs. Earring was last holiday season, when I was training a new co-worker. Mr. Earring gave us both a pair of earrings, mine with a cute little gingerbread house painted on the front, and my co-worker chose the gem-studded sparkly earrings. I wore those throughout the whole holiday season, thinking about his kindness. Today I learned his fate. The cancer won. It wasn't through work, an obituary, his wife, but a mutual friend. She wore a pair of blue earrings, similar to the style of how Mr. Earring would have made his jewelry. I commented, "Those are nice earrings, I have a pair just like them." "Oh," she said, "where did you get them?" I really had to dig back into my memories. Names come and go. "Mr. Earring," I replied. "I still carry a pair of earrings he made in my coat pocket." "These were made by Mr. Earring as well," she said. "I'm sorry to say he passed." I was only half surprised, but carried on the conversation. "My condolences," I said. "He touched so many lives," the customer said. "I bet Mrs. Earring would love to see them." "That would be nice," I replied, handing her the now paid-for merchandise. I didn't see them after, but my heart does go out to them, especially to Mrs. Earring, who I give my greatest condolences to. Mr. Earring was patient, kind, funny, and an overall lovable soul. Rest in peace, my friend. 2. Back in 2018, or 2017, I was spending a lot of time trying to balance my life between my business and work, and just having time to exist. And my solution was to just do the things that I loved and share them with friends or whoever wanted. One of the things I was doing a lot was practicing free diving as much as I could. My favorite spot to do so is a place called Laguna Dudu. Look it up, it's actually a cool place to visit if you're ever in the Caribbean. I fell in love with that place years before, after my first visit, which is a funny story, maybe for a different time, and became friends with the administration and staff, to a point that I was just a regular, and everyone treated me not like a guest, but more like a friend that came by. On this visit I got there early, had my tent all set up, and was just getting ready to do a couple of dives. It was so hot that I had my wetsuit half on, when I see this very excited little girl and her kinda lost mom, I assume, looking where to go. Because I know the staff, I know they don't speak any English, and the lady doesn't look like she knows any Spanish. "Hi, English?" "Oh, hi, yeah." "Awesome, you look a little lost. What are you looking for?" Because the place is an open space, sometimes guests are looking for a bathroom, not knowing they just came from the only good place with a good bathroom. "I don't know, we got separated from my group because I wanted to see the place, but I don't know where it is what." "Oh, that's easy enough. Would you like a tour? I really love this place, and I'm on my way down anyways." I lowered myself down to the little girl's height. "Would you like to see the Taino Cave?" The little girl's eyes lit up, and she looks at her mom with that, Can we, Mom?" I look at Mom too, and she just gives me a smile and a nod. A little context about the place. It was originally just empty land that the owners used to farm to keep their ostriches. With time, the owners saw the potential for tourism and adapted the place for visits, and they have been improving ever since. It is the only cenote-type lake divided by land, but still connected by underwater caverns, naturally, in the Caribbean. According to the owners, there is one in Mexico, but it is man-made. So when you come in and pass the ticket gazebo, you can only see grass, trees, a 20-meter cliff going up, a little rock wall, and a path that takes you up to the bigger gathering area. Not knowing that past that little rock wall is a 10-meter drop to a beautiful waterhole. To keep it short, we walked around, I gave them all the info that I had, like the one I just mentioned, explained how and what to expect, and some recommendations from a regular on how to really enjoy the place, and ended back at my tent. I forgot my flippers. And here is where the I don't work here lady moment happened. Oh my god, thank you so much for this, it was so helpful. She extends her hand to me with the equivalent of a $20 bill in it. I look at the money a little confused. What is this? It just hits me. Oh, no, that's not necessary. I don't work here, ma'am. I just really love this place and don't mind sharing what I know. You've been extremely nice to us. You deserve this, please. No, it's okay. It was just me being me. It's not necessary. So we went back and forth like this for a while until she gets this look on her face of, okay, you little brat, I'll show you. And in a quick, decisive motion, she puts the money in my right hand, closes my hand in a fist, and without missing a beat or letting go of my hand, pulls a $100 bill from her pocket and says, "You either keep that or I'll give you this." She stares me down for a second, and I'm in shock. Then in a proud manner she goes, "That's what I thought." Hardly smiles, and starts walking off. "Bye," says the little girl. And just like that, I snapped out of my shock thinking, did she just threaten me with more money? And it worked? And that's it. The only time I've been shut down by a person by a threat of more money. To the nice lady at do, if you ever read this, well played. Well played. 3. Back when I was taking American Sign Language, ASL for short, and the teacher who taught it was my absolute favorite teacher. She would do interactive lessons with the class to make it easier to learn. She would let kids eat in her classroom if they had nowhere to go. She would listen to any student's problem. She was just the best teacher. One day I was having a really bad day. I was working on an art piece that was due that day during one of my classes. The work needed colored pencils to complete the drawing, so I brought a hand crank pencil sharpener with me to class. I was sharpening my pencils before class begun, and in my hurry, I knock over the sharpener and break the shavings container off. I was already stressed from the assignment needing to be done, and this made me feel horrible. However, I managed to calm myself down and get through the class. It was a class before lunch break, so I decided to go to the ASL teacher's room to drop my stuff off, then head to the art room to fix my sharpener. This was the plan, but after the bell rang and I got into the ASL teacher's room, the plan had an extra step added in. The ASL teacher said, "Hello, OP, how are you today?" The moment I walked in and heard her ask this, made all my stress come down on me. I started to ugly cry. Hard. My teacher came up to me and hugged me, asking what happened. I explained my ordeal to her through my tears. Even with the comfort, I was still bawling like crazy. One of the students that was present chimed in, telling the teacher that they had brought a joke book to school that day. My teacher asked if I'd like to hear a joke. I nodded my head yes, still crying and blubbering. I don't remember what that joke was, but I do know it was one of those cheesy jokes with a bad punchline. She told me several jokes while giving me a hug until I calmed down. Once I did, she told me to go take care of the pencil sharpener, and that if I was late for class not to worry, since she was my teacher for the next class. To this day, she is my favorite teacher I've ever had. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. 4. When most people say retail, I imagine they, like myself, Think of people working in stores, restaurants, small shops, etc. This story deals with the medical field because greeters, people staffing the information desk, receptionists, and others also deal in customer, patient, client, consumer service. Recently I, a 46-year-old female, had to take my special needs daughter, 25 years old, to go to her yearly blood labs. It's to monitor the levels of medication in her system, among other things. Her usual lab was unavailable. There is construction happening that has closed access to the lab, so we picked another location from the list of labs we could use. We ended at what I think was a hospital complex instead of one hospital building that is connected to the other clinics surrounding it, like the one we live near but is not on the list. This hospital consists of several buildings unconnected next to each other. They all look the same, and the actual address for this place is non-existent. We've had to go there before for another reason and, of course, in another building. Basically, unless you know exactly where your destination is, you will find yourself wandering about on an unplanned excursion. Now, the staff I have interacted with in the past, unless a medical practitioner, all wear fairly casual clothing. The only real thing differentiating them from a non-staffer, if they are at an assigned station, such as information desk for example, is that staffers wear an ID on a lanyard. So I pick a random building. Its outside sign had pharmacy listed, so I thought perhaps the lab would be nearby in said building. I got in and no one is there. No helpful information desk, no map saying "you are here" on the wall. Just a small coffee and snack shack and 2 signs on the wall. One listing in small print, providing which floors housed which providers, and the other sign much larger with "pharmacy," and an arrow on it pointing in a vague direction near a hallway that was partially hidden. I didn't bother with the coffee and snack shack because I doubted the one person working in it would know. Also, they were already serving a couple of customers, and I didn't want to risk wasting any more time than necessary on finding the lab. At this point, I was sighing with frustration. I was on a time crunch and my daughter was getting antsy, when 2 older women approached me. I'm assuming they too were also a daughter and mother pair, ages maybe 50s for the younger one and 70s for the older one. The younger one was either desperate or didn't register that I wasn't wearing a staff ID. Either way, she approached me and inquired if I knew where the pharmacy was. I told her I didn't, but I pointed to the sign indicating where the pharmacy should be. She thanked me and proceeded to head that way. Out of desperation and the mindset of, "you won't know unless you try," I asked her by chance if she knew where the lab for blood drawing was. I was quite surprised that she did. She then sweetly gave me directions, which of course was the next building over with nothing outside of it to indicate there was a lab inside, and then proceeded to take who I presumed to be her mother to the pharmacy. All in all, it was a win-win situation. 5. There was a rumor of a certain non-profit donation organization, whose name suggests that they are a mass of warriors looking for others' salvation. This rumor stated that they were anti-LGBTQ+, to the point where they wouldn't donate to gay couples or even accept donations from them. There was even a boycott going across Facebook that told people to not donate or accept donations from them. I don't know if this is true or not, however, the branch in my home city decided that this was not the case. In fact, they wouldn't just prove it wrong, they would go one step further. To start, their bell-ringing Santas started to wear gender non-conforming clothing. The biggest thing that I personally saw was fishnet leggings and freezing temperatures. Instead of "ho, ho, ho," they started to say things like "hey, sailor," in that flamboyant kind of way. This could seem like a bit of a middle finger to the LGBTQ+ community, but that was just the start, like a way to get people's attention. The real event was when they opened their donation center, not just to food and clothes and such for anyone that showed up, but they had some lawyers there, ready to take on any and all cases of discriminatory action for employment or rent and whatnot. And they followed through. They rented out a huge rental property that only rented out to heterosexual and possibly attractive couples. yet they had to be a guy and girl that are married, using the farce of they were more financially capable to keep up on rent, as if two people of the same gender can't. Meh. Thanks for listening to this small story of lightheartedness. In times that look bleak, I hope that people can keep in mind, even though the dozen may be spoiled, that doesn't mean there aren't a couple of good eggs left. Keep fighting for your neighbors, and keep your loved ones in mind. No matter what happens, we will survive it. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Heartwarming Stories, Episode 4. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. It took me a while to gather these ones. I've had some of them since 2021. But here we are, and I hope you all enjoyed them on this Christmas Day, whether you choose to celebrate or not. I like to save these videos for a Christmas Day because, I think we could all use a pick-me-up round about the holidays. Just a reminder that there's kindness and goodness in this world. These past few years have been tough on us all. We've seen sides of our fellow human beings that perhaps we'd rather have not. Some people have gotten bolder at sharing their hatred with the world, but I think it's also made the kind people more determined to be kind. And some of us might falter and make mistakes along the way, but I also think it's important that people be allowed second chances, but not third chances. I don't believe in that anymore. Let's hope the year and the world to come improves for us all. Alright, as it's Christmas Day, no pressure, no question of the day, but feel free to leave any comments you'd like below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.